We are now just 2 weeks away from Batman vs Superman, so let's continue the Batman reviews with my review of The Dark Knight. By the way, I will be mentioning some spoilers in this review, so if you haven't seen The Dark Knight, really? I'm just going to jump right into it and say one of the big things I love the most about The Dark Knight is that the story and the tone is way more grounded in reality than Batman Begins. Batman Begins had the comic book elements of an immortal villain, Scarecrow's special effects driven fear toxin hallucinations, and the comic book style designs of the buildings and the back alleys and the streets and whatnot. None of that is present in The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight in fact feels like a completely different film and a completely different experience than Batman Begins. Whereas Batman Begins felt like a brooding comic book movie, The Dark Knight feels like a gritty crime thriller, concentrating on the mobs, gangsters, corruption, but also sprinkling with a bit of Batman badassery in there. I do love the story of The Dark Knight though. Batman's working with Harvey Dent and Jim Gordon to rid the city of criminals once and for all by going after the mob. Then the Joker comes in and he just shakes it all up with his brand of chaos. Then you have twists, turns, deaths, drama, hospital explosions. The story has layers, it isn't cut and dry, it's really well plotted and really well thought out. Let's talk about the Joker. Now what more can be said about the Joker that hasn't been said 100 times before in 100 other videos? The Joker in The Dark Knight is my favourite comic book movie villain of all time. He is just an unstoppable wave of chaos. He's crazy, he's psychotic, but he's also kind of smart. I mean that in terms of when he's killing his targets and manipulating Harvey Dent. By manipulating Harvey Dent, he'll undo everything that he's ever done to make Gotham a better place. All the criminals will come back onto the street and Gotham will just be in an even worse place than it ever has been before. You got to admit, it is a pretty damn good scheme. And of course, Heath Ledger's performance was incredible. He brought absolutely everything he could to the role and he was just so convincing and he was such a joy to watch. Definitely one of my favourite acting performances of all time, Heath Ledger as the Joker. Going back to Harvey Dent, I do like his story arc in the movie also. In particular his turn as Two-Face at the end. I found him as a villain to be a little bit similar to Ra's al Ghul in the way that they seek justice. Harvey Dent's trying to get justice on the corrupt cops and the mobsters who are responsible for Rachel's death and his disfiguration. But like Ra's al Ghul in Batman Begins, he's going about it all the wrong ways, by killing them. And I kind of felt bad for him at the end of the film where he's yelling about how he lost everything, but he still needed to be taken down, because he was just about to kill Jim Gordon's kid. Speaking of the end, when Batman takes down Harvey Dent and he decides to take the blame for everything that Harvey Dent did so it wouldn't reverse everything that Harvey Dent did in terms of making Gotham a better place. That right there, I just found awesome how Batman would go to those lengths to protect his city to the point where he's now deemed a murderer. He really does become the hero that Gotham needs him to be, even if it does ruin his image. That right there is the making of a true hero if ever there was one. And just like Batman Begins, The Dark Knight has many memorable and exciting scenes. Like the scene where Joker's in the truck and he attacks the SWAT convoy that Harvey Dent's in. Other amazing scenes in this film include when Batman goes to Hong Kong and he just jumps off the tower. The interrogation scene with Batman and the Joker, how could I not mention that? And the entire finale where the ferries are rigged to blow and Batman takes out all of Joker's goons in really badass fashion. Those are just some of the scenes that make this film as memorable as it is. And the filmmaking is great too. Great direction, great writing, great cinematography, and Hans Zimmer's score is amazing once again. In the end guys, The Dark Knight steps up the Dark Knight trilogy in pretty much every way possible. The performances are great, the story is riveting, the tone is spot on, the filmmaking is top notch. It is truly one of my very favourite comic book films of all time, and of course I'm going to give The Dark Knight full marks, 5 out of 5. Like I said at the start, we are 2 weeks away from Batman vs Superman. I'm doing Batman and Superman reviews before Batman vs Superman comes out. I've already done a review for Batman Begins, so check that out if you haven't already. So stay tuned next week for my review of The Dark Knight Rises, and then the week after, like 2 days before Batman vs Superman comes out, I will be reviewing Man of Steel. But in the meantime, tell me in the comments below what you thought of The Dark Knight, and if you like this stuff, be sure to subscribe because I got stuff coming to you guys all the time.